Hey y'all, Mues here, and it's Halloween, and we're gonna celebrate by talking about some spooky stuff. That's right, that sweet, that nasty, that spooky stuff. This week, I am counting down my top 5 creepiest music videos. Now, I should probably explain, before I get started. And this isn't a humble brag, or trying to make myself sound like a badass, but, I don't really spook easy these days. Everything is fucking jump scares and gore. Bah! I scared noodles. We're not talking about any of that shit. We're talking about the 5 videos that creeped me out as a kid. And I know, I already hear the groans, the eye rolling, the upper right hand corner X clicking, but wait just a goddamn minute. Alright? The fact that these videos creeped me out as a kid might just mean that they're videos that you might not exactly find creepy. Videos that you never looked at and thought, ooh, that is kind of spooky and eerie. Huh? Never thought about that shit, did you? Fuckface! These aren't your typical picks. If you search online for scariest music videos, a lot of these aren't gonna show up. But that's the beauty of my list. And that's why you're watching. I guess. Besides Rockwell being Berry Gordy's son, Michael Jackson may very well be responsible for his hit Somebody Watching Me reaching number 2 in 1984 as the Prince of Pop sang the chorus on the song, which is probably the only part of the song most people remember. I, however, remember the song best for giving me a phobia that I still occasionally deal with today. While the lyrics are otherwise incredibly corny.
I wonder who's watching me now? The IRS?
There was one in particular that stuck with me.
I'm afraid to wash my hair, 'cause I might open my eyes and find someone standing there.
Gee, thanks! That, never occurred to me. The video is campy half of the time, which makes the legitimately disturbing stuff stand out that much more. For every dog with a stupid mask, there's a man with a small pig on a platter wandering around aimlessly. Rockwell spends the first half of the video seemingly spooked by his own home decor, then discovers his TV is showing a scene of men torturing him, which doesn't affect him as much as it should. Hell, the video could have used much more of that and less veiled women dancing in the bathroom. Now, for whatever reason, the final scene is what gets me most. Rockwell originally envisions a half-naked man motioning him down from the balcony, only to realize it's a mailman, who, if you ask me, looks way more frightening. I prove to be right, as the audience is let in on the gag that the mailman has a weird, drippy zombie arm he's hiding from Rockwell. Despite the lobotomized look of the mailman, Rockwell is relieved and meets him downstairs, where the video ends on an ominous freeze frame, which, combined with a line about the shower, made this video really hard for me to watch as a kid.
I always feel like somebody's watching me, and I have no privacy.
Look, nobody told you to buy a clear shower curtain. That's all on you. Michael Jackson changed the game with 1982's Thriller. The song, originally entitled Starlight, was rewritten, per Michael's request, to be more appealing to kids. These days, zombies have been reduced to an eye-roll-inducing trope, and intense violence and gore are part of the typical prime-time crime drama. Just compare Thriller to other videos from the year, not to mention Jackson's own previous videos. Before now, we've seen Mike dance in front of a green screen, dodge stalking paparazzi, and break up the occasional gang fight. Then all of a sudden, and there's still 11 more minutes of this. Now this was revolutionary. In the early 80s, a long-form music video was as rare to see on MTV as a video by a black artist. So this is a double whammy.
That's very interesting. Isn't that interesting?
Debuting the same night as Rolling Stone's Under Cover of the Night and Hall & Oates' Jingle Bell Rock, Thriller was a hard act to follow, but we haven't even begun to scratch the surface of what makes this video creepy. As if I need to tell you, the video includes Michael not only turning into a werewolf, but also a zombie, though in much better shape than his backup dancers. The makeup is fantastic, and the choreography is top of the line, as both aspects are still impressive by today's standards. I always thought the song itself was creepy enough, hearing Vincent Price rap over the outro, but hearing his laugh over the zoom in on Michael Jackson's face could be the creepiest part of the whole thing, if it wasn't for this final shot. Ugh. Now sure, the video is creepy, but let's face it, it is nowhere near as scary as working at a horror-themed amusement park around Halloween and having to do the Thriller dance every time the song came on every 15 minutes or so. Growing up, I was a huge Beatles fan, and oh, shut up! Shut up! I don't want to hear it! The Beatles were some of the earliest music video pioneers in the late 60s, but the video I'm talking about comes from the year 1995 and was a product of the famed Beatles Anthology, a set of 3 double-disc albums featuring outtakes and stories of the band's history corresponding with a television miniseries documentary. One major selling point was a finalized remaster of a long-lost demo originally recorded in 1977 by John Lennon. The 3 remaining band members recorded their music for the song and released it as the first Beatles single following the band's breakup 25 years earlier. The song was free as a bird, and it actually wasn't as well received as you would imagine. The original demo was a low-key piano ballad the boys tried sprucing up to sound like a Beatles song, only modern. But what we got has been described as a dirge and could be an integral part of why this video was so creepy to me. The video is filmed from a literal bird's eye view, starting out with the inquisitive intruder peeping at pictures of the band as kids in what seems to be an empty apartment before flying out a window. The video is chock full of references to the band, songs, lyrics, locations, and events. What always struck me as eerie was how they worked clips of the band into the shot. For being around the same time as Forrest Gump, the effects look very cheap, with the footage being slowed down and the picture quality clashing with the backgrounds, making them look extremely out of place. Specific shots like the glaring nurse selling poppies from a tray, the crowd clamoring around a car wreck, and the final shot of the ukulele player's silhouette stand out in my mind the most. There's also the children in pig masks, which is not unlike the children from Aphex Twins' Come to Daddy. It was very ambitious for the time, but the final product is just weird, unsettling, and uncharacteristic of the band it was meant to honor. Bored college students who started out trolling local art galleries, Devo was one of the more interesting high-concept bands of the late 70s. In their early days, the group was very big on the use of onstage characters, most famously Boogie Boy, who personified childlike innocence and naivety, as well as pessimism and self-loathing. Portrayed by Mark Mothersbaugh wearing a baby mask in a series of short films, including their award-winning The Truth About De-Evolution, acted as a sort of mascot for the group, providing comic relief, but also doubled as a punching bag. Ha! Look at him shake! Now while that clip is humorous, his other video appearances are considerably darker. Exhibit A, the ending of their first short film. Now this clip is disturbing for a few different reasons. Throughout the film, Boogie is seen performing with the band and interacting with his father. Then, suddenly, without any explanation, he's unmasked and stabbed by a shirtless man for seemingly no reason. The soundtrack doesn't help much either, but that's not even the clip I'm including in this countdown. That would be a video that was shown during Devo's concerts throughout 1980. Filmed with Mark's actual father playing the part of General Boy in a strange garage, the General is demonstrating a hydraulic press, and I think you may already know where this is going. And that's not all! Boogie is then rushed to a hospital where they somehow, miraculously, reconstruct his head and save his life. What follows is a long, drawn-out clip of a nurse unwrapping Boogie Boy's head to reveal this. All they did to achieve that effect was flip the mask inside out and rub Vaseline all over it, so you gotta give them points for creativity. This incident would lead to Boogie becoming a born-again Christian for the remainder of the year until his face fully healed. Then he seemed to forget all about it. But I mean, his head was crushed by hydraulic press, so who can blame him? While I was doing research for this video to see if there were any music videos I may have forgotten about, I was surprised to see that none of the lists included Pearl Jam's first concept music video, Jeremy. Released in 1992 off the band's debut album, Jeremy tells the story of a teenager dealing with anger brought on by kids at school and his own inattentive parents. The first time I saw this music video was part of some VH1 special about censored music videos, which I believe was also the first time I saw Closer by 9 Inch Nails. At that age, something being overtly censored unnerved me for some reason. So in the case of Jeremy, I couldn't tell which was worse. This awkward, granulated close-up of the kid's face, or actually seeing him put a gun in his mouth. This one video alone taught me about suicide, depression, and the notion that a kid might just bring a gun to school for some reason, so this was a pretty loaded one for me. Pardon the pun. Beyond this one iconic shot, there's also the demented look on Eddie Vedder's face, the erratic editing, and the final panning shot of the other kids splattered in blood, which isn't how I think that would have worked. It's also worth noting that the classroom shot was filmed in Bayonne High School, only minutes away from where I grew up. I'm really glad I didn't know that at the time. Now, Eddie Vedder based the song on true events, but you could say that he took some artistic liberties embellishing the story a little bit. Are you sure you're not confusing Jeremy for another Excitable Boy? Wanting to shed some light on a real-life tragedy is noble, but to go and paint the parents out to be villains in this story and hurt their real-life reputations? A bit of an oversight and a monumental dick move. If Ed had read the story more thoroughly, he could have wrote a much more interesting song. Jeremy had a deer leg in his locker. Where was that in the video? You know what? On second thought, probably a good call not having that in the video. I'll settle on confusing posters of a boy in a giant wolf's mouth. And those were the 5 videos that creeped me out the most as a child. What were yours? Are there any videos that creep you out today? What are they? Tell me about them and I probably won't fucking watch them.